You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 188 of East Central Indiana's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell. Today I'm joined by producer Chris Guffey.
Hello.
Co-host Zach Burcham and forever co-host Dakota Davis.
Today's episode features the four of us sitting around a table and talking to you.
You had to crack that open because we're still washing out the taste of something that happened in Patreon.
Yeah, that's right.
Worth it for the Patreon. Guess which one of these beverages in front of them.
We're going to be talking about our wonderful Christmas times. We're also going to be talking about Henry County going...
That's trademarked. We can't say that phrase.
Oh, come after me, Disney. We're talking about Henry County going red and what that means for us, and also talking about the Nashville bombing incident and whether or not we're going to get $2,000 in the mail. Who knows? Find out with us and enjoy the ride.
This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you. Other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you'll always learn something new. We just recorded a Patreon. We missed last week's show. The reasons why are explained in the Patreon. We won't tell you here because there's no such thing as a free lunch. But we did have some premium content in there. There was a Christmas gift exchange.
Christmas.
If you missed it, that's sad for you.
Anybody here listen to Hello from the Magic Tavern?
No.
Dang it.
No. Pass.
Someone listening to this does.
Somebody probably does.
And they just laughed at Christmas.
So we put that in the can. We always have to thank the folks. We'll have Zach do this. Zach's gotten really good at thanking people and reminding us why we thank certain individuals.
Oh, yeah. You got thank all the people that chip in every month, help keep the lights on, and in this case, the heat on. And if you contribute more than $50 a month, you get mentioned in every episode. And so we got a big thanks to Chris Lamb, Christy Avery, Jonathan Phillips, Anthony Meyer. And also, I'm not sure if Guffey can go find it because I don't know if he has, but Anthony Meyer's GoFundMe still going. And you can find the link to that.
He's a truck driver.
Is that fully funded yet? It's not done?
I haven't checked on it yet.
I haven't checked on it in a minute, to be honest. Sorry, Anthony.
Those folks chip in. The kind of
Anthony
heroes.
Meyer is a true American patriot that is helping serve our country in one of the most grueling times and grueling years that we have experienced in our young lives. He is a trucker delivering goods all across this great nation, and he's trying to go out independent and work on his own and be his own man. And I support him 100%. I think that most of us in here at least, donated to the GoFundMe, and he has helped our podcast out a lot, so it would mean a lot to us and him if you chipped in as well.
I know Dakota did. I know I did. I know Craig DaCosta, the incredible Craig DaCosta, kicked in on there as well. So it's well represented from the Boss Hog family. We did do the gift exchange. Did everybody get their gifts? Did they show up on time? Are you still waiting on the Postal Service to deliver things?
You know what's funny is that
things are all good.
My grandma lives in Florida, so she used to drive up, and we could just do gifts like normal. But the past few years, they've
not quite normal. They've stopped
driving, and so they fly up. And last year, I was like, she's a big Disney fan. She lives near Orlando, so she goes to Disney a lot. And I bought a book that was like I guess it was like a scavenger hunt of Disney. Like you find places, take pictures of it, paste it in the book. It's kind of neat. And I was like, I'll just have it sent to her house from Amazon.
She goes to Epcot and goes to the Canada and says, "Hey, here's me at Canada."
Yeah. And this was last year, of course, and I purchased the book. It wasn't Prime, which was a mistake. And I purchased the book around December 10th, I would say. And then it never showed up to her house by the time that she got to my parents' house for Christmas. And I was like, well, it might show up. I don't know. And then she's like, okay, no problem. And I let her open up like the receipt that I had gotten it for. And then she goes back home to Florida, and about a week and a half goes by.
Still.
And she's texting me, and she's like, hey, you might want to check on that package because it still has never showed up. And then like 3 days later, it finally got to her house. But then this year, I did the same thing and had something sent to her house from Amazon. And it was there at, I don't know, just a few days later. It was there like early December, way before Christmas time.
No problem at all.
No problem.
I ordered on December 7th. I ordered a number of things on Amazon, but there was a EU COVID mask that I ordered for Sarah. She knows about it, so we're not ruining Christmas now. I showed her a picture, but it's from the Schitt's Creek documentary. And I ordered that December 7th, and it still has not even shipped. So shipped, arrived. Amazon's not quite sure what happened to it.
My 2 packages, one of them sat in LA from December 9th until like the 27th, and then it showed up. And then it made the trip across the country in like a day. And then I had one that was...
So it was in LA until after Christmas.
It sat in LA till like the 27th, and then it was like on a plane in Newcastle, like before I could figure out what had happened to it. And then that one made sense to me. That's the one it just sat.
That was customs.
It just sat in, no, it came from California. It like started in Van Nuys, and then it got to the hub in LA and just never moved. The one that came from China, it's the one that was the mystery one. And I know a lot of people have had this issue. And so this is the one thing that I think the Postal Service could look at and analyze to figure out how this happened. This is the package that was in Muncie on December 14th.
15 miles away from us.
Yes. And then it went from there to Chicago, to Pittsburgh, to Cincinnati, to Indianapolis, back to Muncie, and then to Newcastle. Over the course of like 2 weeks. It showed up like a couple days later.
What kind of condition was the package in when it finally arrived?
It was like a soft bag. It was like Christmas pajamas. And so it wasn't too bad off, but it did look like it traveled as far as Santa Claus.
It had a full road trip. And it came over on the boat from China to start.
Yes. Yeah. Like it was one of those things that was not on Amazon. It was some website. And I would just get these cryptic emails about, oh, here's update. It's in we're getting it to you. We're getting it to you. And then I get one. I'm like, what is that place? I look, I'm like, oh, that's a port in East China Sea. And I'm like, this is not going to be good.
Do you have the shop app where you can track all of the package? It links to your email address.
Oh,
so
really?
any package that is being shipped associated with your email address, then it populates all in the same app.
Oh, that would be handy. They didn't even give me an actual shipping. I emailed them and said, hey, what's going on with this? Because all the updates say the same thing. Traveling within our system. And it didn't get into the U.S. Postal Service's possession until it was like in Muncie, I think, or something. I can't remember. And they didn't email me back and they said, here's the shipping tracking number for it. So that was the first time. But yeah, that one's the one I'm like, you could have called me and I'd have driven up on the 14th to pick it up. But instead it traveled all over the Midwest.
Yeah, but they probably couldn't have even found it in the building at that point. They know it's in Muncie, but it's in here somewhere.
And I thought of that because that was about the time the picture popped up of like a room that's, a big room in a post office and it's 4 feet deep of boxes. And I imagine that's where the one that was in LA was just in a corner. And then once they got like 2 days without packages coming around, they were sifting through stuff. So I've ordered stuff since then and it all came in on time.
Somewhere around December 10th, we sent out, I want to say, I don't know, 100, 150 Christmas cards. I don't remember exactly the number. Whatever Sarah and I agreed on, and whatever the package size was that we ended up getting ordered from our printer.
I got one of those.
And we dropped them in the mail. And over the last 4 days, we've had 3 of them finally come back with bad addresses. It took them from December 10th until the end of December. And it's not been like, hey, the stuff further away or closer to home came home first. We had one that was going to Minnesota that came back a week ago. Yesterday, cousin Donnie, who's been on the show, his card in Florida bounced back to us, finally came back yesterday. And then today, we got one that went to Bloomington, Indiana, 100 miles away. And it's been bouncing around the system and finally came back today.
For work today, I got a letter back from the post office that we mailed to somebody about something for my job. And it was for an exam in September. And it bounced back but I've already corrected his address, scheduled whatever I need to do, and gotten it back to him. But the first return letter just got to me.
And it's been floating since September.
It's been floating for 3 months.
That is insanity.
Wow. Yeah, it's like my job allows me to kind of study that a little bit. If people call me, and they do, because a lot of the stuff, we mail out a lot of stuff for my job, and it comes with you need to call by this time kind of thing. And a lot of letters all summer have been getting and everything's from Indiana, 8 or 9 days to get to places. And there's letters. So
Pony Express is faster than that.
So
I want to go around the room.
I think our Christmas cards mostly left on Saturday night. I dropped in the post office box Saturday night. I think most people got them on the Thursday. Most.
Yeah.
That was about
I think I got yours before.
The median timeline.
Yeah. I want to go around the room and I want to talk about our favorite Christmas gifts this year. I want to put everybody on the spot and think, who do I want to make happy and whose heart do I want to break by telling them their Christmas gift is not my favorite. I'm going to start with Chris Guffey, the homeless man in the corner.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Wait. Let's make him feel bad. Chris, you did receive Christmas presents this year, right?
I did receive gifts.
Because I gave you a little shot bottle.
It's true.
That was the favorite?
No.
God dang it.
Broken.
I'm going to say probably, and as weird as it's going to sound, the drawer organizer for my nightstand.
No way.
Yeah.
I got one of those too, and it was going to be my favorite gift.
Yeah, man. It's so exciting because I've just been dumping change.
This is insane.
I've been dumping change and, pens and cards and stuff in there. And I'm like,
does this sit inside of a drawer or it sits on top of the nightstand?
No, it sits inside the drawer.
It's like a utensil thing, but for your bedside
And
table.
so, because I had created a list.
Do you keep the condoms like little vertical racks like it's a vending machine, or how does that work?
No, they're actually right beside it. They're not in the organizer.
I literally just sent you all a picture of mine, just so you know that I'm telling the truth.
But no, I created a list, and Paige's parents and brother and grandparents had bought pretty much my entire list. And Paige was like, "Well, what do you want?" I was like, "I could use a drawer organizer for this nightstand." She goes, "Okay." And then next thing I know, on Christmas Day, I opened up, and there's a drawer organizer. So
that's hilarious.
Everything I got was extremely practical.
As you get older, that happens.
Yeah, my
You get
family
super excited about it.
My family has and Sarah's family is very small, so they get rolled in with us. So we all just have this big maximum $100 gift item exchange. So you get one big gift. And I put in 2 items in from my Amazon wish to everybody. I'm like, hey, I either want a DeWalt leaf blower.
Oh, I had that on my list and didn't get it.
I didn't either. Or I wanted a telescoping ladder for my camper because I don't have a ladder for my camper.
Oh, those are nice.
You can borrow one of mine.
That's what I got. I got a 12-foot telescoping ladder for my camper so that I can get to my slides now. Because earlier this year, I had to have somebody on my.
These are all camper list items. That's why we both had them on our list. Is like I've got a DeWalt drill.
Yep.
And so I want the leaf blower, and I need the ladder to get up on the slide because it's
exactly.
I can't speak to the power of the DeWalt, but my dad has got a Milwaukee electric leaf blower, and that thing is very impressive.
At some point, I will be getting it. I just don't know I don't know when it'll happen, but it'd be really nice to have. I've carried around an electric one that I have to have the hose or the cord. And at some point, we're going to age out on that thing. So the electric leaf blower is perfect for the camper, I think. So yeah, that was good. And then I've been left stranded twice in the last month on the side of the road in the dark. So I got
you got a AAA membership.
I got some tactical flashlights so I can do my own repairs and not have to use my flashlight.
Did you take mine and Cade's advice while we were talking about it in the group chat?
I don't even
about which brand of flashlight to buy.
No, these are gifts. You don't get to decide what brand
you can put it on the Amazon wish list.
These were unsolicited. These were stocking stuffer kinds of things. One of those where everybody got, all the men in the family got one in the stocking kind of a deal. So both my parents and my wife's parents stuffed the stockings with some flashlights. So each of my vehicles got one. So once again, entirely practical. And then of course I got my amazing, incredible, phenomenal, holds nearly an entire pot of coffee, Dainty Daisy Boss Hog of Liberty tumbler.
You've drinking before the day is halfway.
That I could fill I generally, and obviously it's only been 3 days now, but I fill this in the morning before I go to work, fill it up, and then it's gone before lunch, and then I have 1 or 2 full loads of water in it by the end of the day. I will say that the lids are taking some adaptation.
How's that lid?
Tatum, my niece was on the show last week, and she's 7 months old. And I looked about like Tatum trying to learn how to use this cup the first day.
You tried to flip
because
it up at first?
I slid it open, but then there's a straw hole on the back that you have to lift so that there's air coming in. So when you tip it back and you got a full cup of coffee, it's just a vacuum and it won't come out. It won't go anywhere. So you look like a 6-month-old trying to learn how to use a cup for the first time. So that was me on Christmas morning trying to drink out of it. She had a
customer one time that said, hey, the lid you gave me is broken. And Audrey's like, and this was like 4 days after they picked it up.
Okay.
And she's like, that's weird.
I ain't responsible for your broken lid,
she's
bitch.
Like, that's
probably
weird
what Audrey
that they would, reach out 4 days afterwards. And she's like, but whatever. Maybe they just gave it, maybe they bought it for someone. They just gave it to him. And she's like, I have a couple extra of those cups. I can give you one of the lids off of it. And if you want to meet me in town. And the lady's like, yeah, absolutely. So they meet at Walmart. Audrey gets the cup back, and they had very obviously tried to flip up that thing and just snapped it. Yeah. I have no idea like how hard they had to have pried on that little thing. They look like a screwdriver or a pocket knife. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that stupid. You'd have to snap it because it's sealed inside.
You can also get there's also another lid for these that you can.
You could just take a generic standard lid. Right?
There's a screw-on type that they make that they sell too. She made me this one, but this is my old coffee cup. It's the actual Yeti, and then she also gave me a hydro flask one. It's like a workout bottle.
Well, it's very nice. I've used the straw a couple of times. I wasn't sure about the straw, how that was going to work. I've probably already lost it in my house, the straw. But as a coffee tumbler, they're excellent.
I would lose it as well.
Yeah, I'm doing my best, but there's no guarantees. I'm honestly doing really good to hang on to headphones like for more than 6 months at a time. So if I can keep that straw for a month, that's going to be a new world record.
Zach, your favorite gift was binoculars, I heard.
Yeah, I got my 4-year-old gave me some binoculars he didn't want anymore, and I don't think they would go out wide enough for my face to fit my face. But
your kids aren't into the I'm going to give you a coupon for things around the house phase yet.
No, they got me because my sister-in-law took them out, and I got a grilling basket for my kid. Whoever they were very adamant about getting that, so I'll put that to use. They will not eat anything that will be prepped in it because they don't eat anything like that.
Well, not yet.
Not yet. Well, the 7-year-old's like super picky, just pizza, burgers, and spaghetti. About all he eats.
He's a big fan of pizzas. I know that.
His favorite thing was, and it was a regifting for my wife, but she's like, oh, he needs one more thing in the stocking, is we just gave him a $15 gift card to Little Caesars, and he was super excited. I mean, that made his day.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. Jackson got most of his Christmas presents from Audrey and I early because one of them
you can't contain yourselves.
Yeah, we're children.
Rookies.
Oh, my wife's militant about it. Like if you find it, she'll just take it back.
We would buy things and we would be like, and he'd be sitting there with all of his old toys, and we'd be like, let's get him this new one.
What am I got a Google the Home hub, it's like a little mini TV.
Yep, we got one of those in the kitchen.
Yeah, and that's where ours is. And my kids didn't know about it for about 3 days. And now if she could be angry at being pestered, she would be angry at being pestered because they'll just be sitting there bugging it, just asking it questions, just over and over again. Like, can we go ask Google a question? Can we go ask? Leave Google alone. She wants a break. And it's like, and if one's figured out he can watch Blippi videos on it, and the other one's asking for pictures of butts, which is going to turn into a discussion at some point. Yeah, they love that thing.
Guffey knows the answer. What's my favorite thing to ask Google?
I don't know.
Okay, Google, is Kobe still dead?
Oh, yeah. Or, okay, Google, is Andretti still dead?
Which Andretti? Oh,
literally just
leave John alone.
You brought up Kobe
I think he's
Bryant.
dead, right?
Yeah,
It's John Andretti. He's dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. These
We're
are all.
verifying.
You
These
have to
are
be
all
more specific. There's a bunch of Andrettis.
there's a lot of Andrettis.
There's a lot of Andrettis. They reproduce.
It's that was January. That joke started in January, Guffey, back when we lost Kobe
It
Bryant.
feels like 2015.
Back when we could watch sports and we were at the Potters.
We were all at my in-laws' house, and the Kobe Bryant helicopter crashed. So I kept asking all day long, because the TMZ had it first, and is he still dead? Is he still dead? And now it's just, Kobe Bryant's dead, and here's what the deal is. But it was actually an active news story at the time when we started asking.
Yeah, because you didn't know if TMZ was legit or not.
Correct.
My favorite gift was probably the organizer, but I also got this thing that I want to talk about because you guys are going to find it interesting. I think Zach might be interested in this afterwards. It's called a Shakti mat.
What is that?
It is this mat that you lay on. It's a padded mat, but it's got these little white discs that are about the size of a $50, and they have these very sharp points that come up on them. So, and then you lay down like on your back where you put your legs on it, and all those little points, they just go like right into your skin, and it is like a trauma experience. And so your body wants to immediately heal it, so it rushes a bunch of blood to the area, and obviously it doesn't puncture your skin, right? But it rushes the blood through all the muscles and to the top of your skin, and it's really nice. It's a really good feeling.
It sounds scary at first.
It's like, so the first time I did it, I laid on it was Christmas Day. I laid on it for like 10 minutes because
This is a mat or
it's a mat. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a safer version of a bed of nails is what it sounds like.
What if you hit it too hard?
Well,
With like
they're
Jackson
only
trips
like,
you.
I want to say probably 3/16 of an inch tall.
In the Flintstones version of this, it'd be Fred playing with a porcupine.
Yeah. They are really sharp. I could only bear it for like 10 minutes. I was like, this is extremely painful. And then I was reading about it, and it was like, for the first few minutes, if you've never done it before, it's going to be really painful, but you just kind of have to deal with it for a minute. And I was like, all right. So then the next day I laid on it again, and I laid on it for about half an hour. And I was like, and then I got up and I was like, wow, it felt very similar to walking out of a massage parlor. Like, muscles are like real loose and warm because it's a wild experience.
Sounds interesting.
My dad got one as well. My mom got him for us. And the very first day was Christmas Day. He laid down on it. He was like, this is kind of uncomfortable, but he's also a nearly 50-year-old man. So he just fell asleep at the same time. And
Because 50-year-old men can nap anywhere.
Yeah.
he was literally on the living room floor. Yeah.
It's hard to get up too. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm just down here.
So I might as well sleep. And he was asleep on it for an hour. And the instructions say like advanced users can be on the Shakti mat for 45 minutes. And
Was he just pure red?
Overachieved.
the next day, he's like, it also has a little pillow too, like a neck pillow, so that your neck's not uncomfortable on the floor. And he's like, look at my neck. And it was covered in these little red dots, like just perfectly spaced tiny red dots from like the bottom part of the back of his skull all the way down his back. He was on it too long, and it started to get through the skin.
He went straight to advanced.
Yeah. So that was pretty funny.
That's terrifying.
It's really nice. It's a really good feeling. I've been doing it a lot. They say that like you can also stand on it bare feet. I haven't been brave enough to do that yet because I feel like
there's a maximum weight to do that.
That's a lot more pressure.
And then you start to push it's like, okay, if you weigh 180 pounds, yes. If you weigh 250, no, don't do it because your skin can only take so much.
I get your skin sensitivity would be a very big deal. If you have very sensitive skin or a very low pain threshold, then
can you walk on gravel without it hurting? Yes or no? That's your determination as to whether or not you're.
This is gonna hurt more than gravel. I just feel like it's standing on your feet. That's not like laying on your back. You've got your whole back of surface area to spread on the little spikes.
Guffey, you see what I'm saying though, right?
Guffey's playing games.
I try to roll him in, but I know he's not really listening. If you can't walk on gravel, you shouldn't try that. Walking on this medieval torture device.
I've done walking on gravel. I'm learning now because my kids to walk on Legos because they're constantly everywhere. So I probably could handle. But yeah, I can handle pain for the most part. But that sounds interesting. That sounds a little scary at first. To like,
it's really nice. It was one of those things where it was like I put it on my Amazon wish list because I read an article about it, and I was like, I'll try it.
Morrell
I was like, I'll put it on there. If someone gets it for me, then great. If not, then that's fine too. And that's pretty, like, as it got closer to Christmas, I was like, I really kind of hope someone bought that for me because I'm really, really curious now. And I saw my mom got it, and I was like, yes.
Very nice. Very nice. So this year, you asked in the show notes if this year's Christmas was different than previous ones. And I will say, ignoring COVID and all the other BS that goes with that, it was different for our family because we had 2 little ones. So Tatum was 7 months old, and then everybody got my nephew Will some stuff. So the kids had there were so many presents. It was enough for a child's lifetime already.
Did Will, Tatum's not old enough, like next year after is when Tatum gets, it's like when they're like a year and a half to 2 or 3 when they start to really understand what's going on. But Will is in a prime age. Can Will pace himself, or does Will blow through presents?
He was pacing himself. I got a picture where they piled them all up on him, and he had about 7 of them on his lap at one time.
Jackson just goes through so fast. And then it's like my wife and I didn't open any gifts, and my kids were completely done. Like, what are we doing now? I'm like, I don't know. Figure something out to do. It's my turn now.
Yeah, Jackson had no idea what was happening. As a matter of fact, on Christmas morning, the way our house does on Christmas morning, my in-laws come over to our house and we eat breakfast and then we open presents. And I had to take Jackson to the bedroom to take like a 20-minute power nap in the middle of presents.
He needed a break. There were so many.
There's just a lot going on. And we also have a 2-year-old niece. So she was like screaming in excitement the whole time.
Guffey, this is your first Christmas in the new house.
Correct. So we spent Christmas Eve with her parents, her brother, and his girlfriend at our place. And then Christmas morning, we woke up and went to her parents' house about 8:39 and trekked all the presents over there. So
my parents always have a huge Christmas Eve party at their house on Christmas Eve. And that's kind of been our
I'm never
tradition.
invited.
We always... You probably would have been this year.
I got uninvited this year. It was sad. I've been talking to Dakota's mom about it for months.
Yep.
It was the only thing we talked about.
It was just, but they couldn't do it this year. It was a very scaled down.
It was pretty much just immediate family or immediate 2 families, basically.
It was basically my family, my mom's mom and stepdad, and then
your mom's best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it.
Family.
And not even her family, just her one son.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Zach, what, anything odd?
Odd. It was an odd Christmas with COVID stuff. Just normally, my family does Christmas on Christmas Eve. And so that was normal. My in-laws had theirs kind of on Christmas Eve too. So that was kind of a whole day thing. Christmas Day normally is, I think, 4 functions for us normally stacked up. We had 1. It was at 4:30, and I found out how very ill prepared I was to have nothing to do all day. Didn't have any food in the house because normally we're just going to pitch in. Didn't have any food in the house, so I think I grilled burgers for lunch, and then we bought a frozen pizza for Owen for dinner at the drugstore because we just didn't have anything. And he doesn't eat any hors d'oeuvre type stuff that was available at the one function we went to, so that was weird. Normally it's get up, chill for a few hours, and then we literally hit a function, and literally everybody in that function gets up, goes to the next function, and it kind of snowballs from there, and there was none of that. So it was kind of odd.
In honor of Dakota's dad, we made water chestnuts at both of our things. That's your dad's big thing, is the water chestnuts wrapped in bacon. Exactly.
Were they as good as his?
They were fantastic, yeah.
They're so good.
They're damn... I don't know why we only serve them one time a year.
Yeah.
They're an excellent dish. And they're a vegetable. I mean, bacon with a vegetable. Come on.
I didn't like them for the longest time because that water chestnut texture, that crunch.
That crunch didn't do it for you?
But I came around to it just last year. And then I had a couple of them last year. I was like, these are actually pretty good. And then this year, we went to my parents' house, and I was actually really, really hungry. And and my dad still made like the same amount that he always did whenever there was 50 people there. So I just pigged out on those all night. I want to talk a little bit about Henry County going red. I put stuff in here about the vaccine, but then I remembered we already went over all the vaccine stuff and like who's going to get it and how that all works. But there is a little bit of an update. Rush County had a shipment of vaccines that all the healthcare workers in Rush County and Henry County could go get.
Mason got his.
Mason got his, even though
First responder Mason.
He was supposed to be part of a trial.
He had volunteered and they never called him.
Yep.
But being as far as the state of Indiana is concerned, he is a licensed practicing medical professional. So he got invited and got to the front of the line, and he got his round one. So he was the Boss Hog test case, and he seems to be doing fine. So based upon that, I feel like I'll jump in line when they deem me eligible.
Heck yeah. Fauci keeps moving the goalpost for what we consider herd immunity. Before it was considered like 40% of the population would be enough to get us to herd immunity. I think it's up to like 60% now, he's saying. So that's a new development.
71,000 Hoosiers have received the first of the vaccines now.
That is not nearly 60%.
71,000 of about 3.5 million, and you're only halfway. There was a story out of California today that said that some medical professional tested positive after having one round of the vaccine, which is not a surprise because you have to take both of them to actually get your immunity from it.
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks between the two?
Yeah, it's 3 weeks between the two. So the very first folks that got theirs in Indiana, I think January 7th or January 10th, that's when their next round is scheduled. So once you get to that point, then those folks are actually going to be what you consider to be good to go. So I don't know. Henry County did turn red. It's in the middle of the biggest basketball tournament the county hosts every year. The Hoosier Classic.
I was shocked to hear they were doing it.
And I saw the news come out, and I'm like, what's this do to the Classic? And then 2 minutes later, Aaron Dickin, who was invited to the show but chose to spend his evening with his family instead, sent over a picture of a bunch of people at the Hoosier Classic right now in the world's largest basketball high school arena. With
largest
a number
and finest.
Yes, the largest, finest, refurbished by our friend Stephen Vitito recently. But yeah, there were still a bunch of people in there. Apparently the new rules don't take effect until tomorrow.
Yeah. I got a one call from the superintendent because my kids are in school, and it said that as of tomorrow, I don't know how it affects the tournament, but any home sporting events are immediate family only starting tomorrow. But yeah, I saw the picture from the Classic too. I was like, well, for the most part, you kind of looked off in the ends and you're like, oh, it's pretty quiet. And then there's like a section behind a bench that's just like, looks like a student section. You're like,
looks pretty regular.
Yeah, it looks pretty regular right there. I was like, well, whatever they're doing. I'm like, well, I'm not there. But
I didn't zoom in to see if how the mask usage was.
I didn't either, did I? I didn't. I was like, look.
Poor.
Who was
it? I'm just going to go ahead and call.
I had somebody, people traveling around. I know Mark Brim had been out of state, but I had somebody post on their Facebook. They're like, oh, it's amazing. They were in Tennessee and they were at a self-serve barbecue buffet and there wasn't a mask in sight. There's a guy standing next to him over the buffet. I'm like, well, everybody's doing things a little differently.
Yeah, but the Dakotas are also like the highest cases per capita in the United States right now.
This was in Tennessee where the buffet was. Yeah, that's impressive to do it like in a state like the Dakotas where you think everybody's pretty spread out for the most part.
Well, I mean, it doesn't mean that people aren't near each other, right?
Yeah.
Like I've been to one of the biggest cities in South Dakota is Rapid City, and that's about like going to Muncie, right? I mean, their biggest cities are that size, South Bend or Muncie size. That's about as big as they get. But then you get into towns where there's
sounds so 40 nice.
People. Sounds so nice. Yeah, except when you get on a plane, you can go to two cities. You're flying with us today? Are you going to Minneapolis or Denver? Because that's all we do. That's the only place you can go from here.
You're at one end of a fork in the hub. You're going to a hub. You're not going anywhere else.
There will be no Rapid City to Indianapolis direct flights.
That's all right. Just keep a car in both places.
You're 10 hours from everywhere, buddy. Yeah. So, and the number...
Lee's Chicken, this is basically the big thing that's happened with this. Lee's Chicken is back to just drive-through only.
So is Temptations. I believe Temptations made an announcement.
I've never been to Temptations, though, so it's not as heartbreaking to me as Lee's.
What? How have you
They're
not been
only
to
open
Temptations?
at lunchtime.
You can't have lunch.
I don't get a lunch hour, man. I don't get a lunch break.
Nobody
I thought that was illegal.
I have no scheduled lunch breaks.
Well, they didn't schedule you for Christmas night, but you went to that, so I think you can have an unscheduled lunch break.
Yeah. That's just the way of the road.
Just
Anthony Meyer knows.
Just park somewhere, put your food, and get up in the bucket and take the bucket up to the
We're
top.
supposed to
I'm not
eat.
coming down till I'm done.
We're supposed to eat in between job assignments. So like it's basically I have to bring my lunch, technically, and in between going from one job to another, I eat lunch in my vehicle. Yeah.
Got a live report from City Councilman Mike Guffey, who's at the world's largest and finest field house. He says Shenandoah is trailing by 9 in the second quarter at the Hoosier Hoosier Harvest. What is it called? Hoosier Classic? Just the Hoosier.
I just always knew it as the
Hoosier
Hall of
Heartland
Fame.
Classic.
I just always call it the Hall of Fame Classic.
Hall of Fame, yeah, Hoosier Hall of Fame. Brought to you by
idea.
Big Machine Records. Hand sanitizer.
Yeah, they could totally get a Big Machine sponsorship this year because it's hand sanitizer.
All right. I also want to talk about, we're going to shift directions here. Everybody put their serious faces on. The Nashville suicide bomber that happened on Christmas Day detonated a bomb inside of a recreational vehicle in downtown Nashville. That was wild.
So, Guffey, I tried to look this up to figure out exactly where this was.
Yes.
You and I spent a significant amount of time at Old Red in Nashville.
I believe I spent more time there, but yes. Yes.
It's not a competition. I'm saying a significant amount of time.
It's true. That was the last place we ended up.
And that was at 9th and Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, 3rd and Broadway. The bomb went off at 2nd, in between 2nd and Broadway and 2nd and whatever the next street to the over to the side is. One street off of Broadway. So it was basically in that same city block is what got just whacked.
I after leaving Old Reds, I might have walked down that road.
I know I know
As
the
I
very
was
first
looking
night we
for
were
an
there.
Uber. As I was ordering an Uber and waiting for him to show up.
I know the very first night we were there, we all walked that street. There was an Irish pub that I was trying to figure out what got destroyed or what was damaged.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to tell from the pictures because you can't even see. I mean, you can't see buildings even in a lot of the shots. It just looks like in the middle of like a neighborhood that got leveled. And I'm like, I don't even tell if this is a town.
It looks like a scene
Commerce.
from the Middle East.
Yeah.
So Broadway, it was at 2nd and Commerce, and 2nd and Broadway is where the Rock Bottom restaurant is. If folks remember that. And Old Red, Blake Shelton's restaurant, is at 3rd and Broadway. We spent significant time at the Sun Diner, which is about a block and a half away, for Dakota's bachelor party. We had breakfast there. For Mason's birthday, we were at the Fleet Street, which is about a block away as well. I mean, this is right in the heart of Nashville. It's crazy the destruction that happened. So I don't know what to expect when we go crawling back there in a couple months for you, Mr. Guffey.
Yeah, I don't know either.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll be reporting from the scene.
Just a few months later.
No one was hurt because I'm sure that most people already know this story, but the van or the RV
Camper is a Class C Ford motorhome.
The recreational vehicle started playing. If you can hear this, evacuate immediately.
Yeah,
How freaking and counting
had that
down
on
for
loop.
15 minutes.
And then he played
Downtown
by Petrulia Clark, which I immediately went to the Seinfeld.
Yeah, you sent that video to the chat.
And if you guys aren't familiar, it's Jerry and George reading the song lyrics, or basically it's George saying everything, and then going to Jerry
saying
downtown. Yes, it's very creepy.
Yep.
It's wild. It's creepy. It sounds like it's entirely caused by 5G. The best story we've got so far is that he was freaked out over AT&T and 5G, or he was trying to knock out 911 for a bunch of towns, because apparently that happened. Or it was because Trump lost and he was mad at technology.
Dominion
voting.
Yeah. Those are all the theories. We don't really know. He didn't tell anybody anything except he told his neighbor that the world will remember his name. But if he was just trying to be remembered, he did it in the worst possible year. because no one.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
It.
And I don't think I'll pick his name up. I saw his picture and was like, yeah, that looks about right. And then I was kind of like, yep. And you saw the pictures of the RV, and then because I've got a
also
camper.
In 2019, it's important to note, more than a year ago, the police were called to his house with his ex-girlfriend was asking the police to take away his guns and told them he is building bombs.
In his defense, he didn't use a gun.
In the RV.
It's true. Because they took him away. There's a domestic violence dispute. You can't have any firearms if you
I would love to know.
have domestic violence.
Because I
charges.
saw that. Because I think she even said he's building bombs in the RV.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of it in his backyard.
They said that they looked through the fence, they saw the RV, they didn't have a warrant, so they didn't go back there. But my thought is like, you have enough evidence to confiscate his weapons because of her word. Why can't you try to obtain a search warrant because she's gone? There's bombs back there. He's trying to blow things up. And you're like, just looks like an old camper.
So nobody believes anything that's ever no official story. It's immediately all BS. Nobody cares. And yesterday, one of the many conspiracies that was floated, the internet research sleuths get on the case, and they say they take the Google Street View picture of the apartment with the camper there, and then they take the picture that was released from the Nashville Police Department just before when it was parked and before it blew up. And somebody said, well, look, this is different about it. There's this black thing on the side in the one, but it's not in the other. So it's a deep fake switch or whatever. And this didn't happen. And the black thing that was different, Zach, is that most campers, many campers, not all, mine doesn't have it, but my previous one did, had a vent for the stove. Yep. And there's a little lip on it, and it sticks out about 3 or 4 inches. And if you're in daylight, when the Google Street View photo was taken, it casts a big old shadow, so it looks black in the picture. So you got this black splotch. But then you look at the same side of the camper in the streetlight photo in the dark, there's no shadow. So it looks completely different. So to the untrained internet sleuth eye, campers have been switched. Conspiracy theories abound.
That's funny. Jeez.
The conspiracy theories were amazing.
They're instantaneous.
And like even I'm in a bunch of RV forums or groups on Facebook, and they're like, well, it was obviously he stole it from somebody. Well, that didn't turn out to be true. And then there's something about AT&T got a contract to audit Dominion's. I'm like, when would we have a cell phone company being auditing anything, or a telecommunications company? I don't understand why they would do that. And then who owned the building or didn't own the building or was a former. It was amazing.
Everybody's always worried about their thing. So in the RV community, they're like, oh my God, what if they don't let me take my camper downtown anymore?
Yeah, some guys like, I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm like, I own an RV, and if I walk downtown Indy and there's just like an 85 Class C, that's suspicious, because the whole idea of having a camper is to not have it in the middle of town. Like if I see a tour bus, different. You'll see tour bus all the time. But yeah, if I see a Class C in a downtown of a major city, I'm suspect, and I own one.
So you look at a camper and you think, okay, you saw the amount of destruction that was there.
Yeah.
You saw immediately that, hey, this is not 40 pounds or 60 pounds of propane that blew up.
Yeah, I even thought how easy it would be to make one blow up just by doing that. Just open up the gas tanks on the stove and set a timer for something to light up. Yeah, and then I saw
that was a real bomb.
That was a real, yeah.
So you guys know me as the guy that has the MREs and the food stores. And
did you immediately start growing greens?
I just started thinking about it. I have a small IFAC in both vehicles. Actually, well, technically all three, because I have one in my work vehicle too. It's like both of them are just kind of like small trauma kits. There's a stent and a tourniquet, and that's it. You have a belt. Why do you need a tourniquet? That just sounds wasteful. The same, because then someone has to maintain pressure with the belt. Either the person who just had their arm blown off has to hold the belt tight, or you have to stop carrying to anyone else around or the person and hold the belt tight.
I know
that the tourniquet,
they saved Alex and Artie's life with a belt. That's good enough for me.
It's done. You also know, if you've been listening to the show, that I have been going through the emergency medical responder. I took the one class. There's none coming up until next year. But so I saw this, and no one was even injured, but I was just like, there are crazy people everywhere, and I need to step up my game on this a little bit. So I bought some more trauma kits, and I want to talk it honestly really worries me, all this stuff. My biggest fear is to be in a situation where I know things that I could do when someone is hurt, but I don't have the things to do them with. The concept of that just kind of shakes me.
Not having your tools.
Yeah. So I immediately, on Christmas Day, was on Amazon, looking for things to buy, nice backpacks to put them in, things that I could carry, through stores by myself. And yeah, so I got all that coming. But
are you going to draw
it
suspicion
still freaks me
based
out.
on your level of preparedness?
I don't think so, because anytime that I'm in this is what my thinking was. Because you see those losers that are wearing the tactical stuff all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. And, well, not no one in particular, but you know the guy. You see it.
Stereotypical picture.
Yeah.
He's open carrying.
So, yeah, that's also true. And so I'm thinking, how do, if I have a backpack, then I'm not going to stick out like a sore thumb. I want to say all this because I think that this thought process could also be useful for other people who may think like I do. So I don't want to stick out like a sore thumb by carrying some stupid tactical backpack that's probably made in China and really cheap, and it's going to fall apart easily. But also, any store or anything that I go in, I'm probably going to have a small child with me. So I'm not going to look that out of place by having some sort of bag.
So you're going to carry this as your nuclear football. You're always going to carry this.
It's a man purse.
This is always going to be on you.
Well, except for in here. Then it'll be, if I'm going into somewhere that's where my vehicle is close by, I'll probably just leave it in there.
Okay.
Just like I do.
But if you go into Walmart, you're going to carry it.
Yeah. Target, whatever. Yeah.
Superstores.
Yeah.
You go walking.
Or if I go into
park,
a nice restaurant, I probably won't.
You're going to go walking through the park. You're going to take it.
Oh, yeah. Walking through the park, yeah. Maybe not the one in Spiceland. Well, probably, yeah. Is the thought about it.
The odds of you actually needing it in your lifetime to me seem.
But see, that's also kind of what I wanted to talk about with regards to it. So I'm thinking of all the trauma things that I would need.
Because I mean, the last time a bombing like this happened in my memory, similar to this in the United States, that wasn't, that was domestic terrorism, is Tim McVeigh in 1994 in Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
that's you're not.
It happened
your
all
lifetime.
the time in the 90s in Ireland.
Sure,
Car bombs.
Sure, if you watch Jack Ryan movies,
specific.
absolutely, it happened all the time.
It's not like I've got this bag that's specific, this will only come in handy if there's a bomb that goes off. Because in my trauma kit, I've also got, I also have wound packing gauze. I also have chest seals for bullet wounds. So if we're talking any kind of shooting incidents, anytime that I have to, if I have to draw a firearm in self-defense, then I can also administer first aid to the person that I drew it on. If any mass shooting events, crazy people in movie theaters, all those things. But also, you can't just walk around with a pack that never gets used, because then even if you're dedicated, a year's time, you've got this bag on you all the time and it's never been opened. You think why am I still carrying this? So it also needs to have things that are practical and useful in everyday life situations, so that you have a reason, I need to grab the backpack.
So
he's got the craziest
you have salt and pepper shakers in there?
No salt and pepper shakers. No.
A flask?
I have a life straw, water purification straw. But that
you're not going to use that every day.
I like it.
What everyday item is going to be in there?
I was thinking medicinal packs, because you can also buy those. Everything I'm talking about, you can buy as a specific backpack that looks like a tactical backpack on its own. But I want a small, compact backpack that can have some of Jackson's things in it in case he ever needs it. and can have some things that I need in it, but it can also be used in severe emergency situations in case that need ever
So you're going to have a portion of things for your nuclear
in
football.
a small backpack,
Okay.
the size of a laptop bag.
Sure.
That is where we're at.
It will
Okay.
then have like diapers and wipes in the corner.
So you're like,
And those snot sucker things.
yeah,
So you'd be like, yeah, it's my diaper bag.
we don't have one of those. Not we use the
You just-
Oh,
Use your
you
own
had
suction.
that. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
yeah, the suction thing. What's that called?
I saw my sister using that, and it was very weird to me. Where you're sucking on it's like you shove one end in the kid, and you suck on another end of it, and then you're hoping that they don't connect together.
Well, there's a filter.
I don't care.
There's a sponge filter, so nothing can come up the tube.
No, I don't believe it.
It works 1.5 million times better than the little bulbs that they give you at the hospital. Anywho, so what could you have in
too
your
gross.
backpack that could come in handy in an everyday life situation?
Emergency change of socks.
You have a headache. What do you take for a headadache? Ibuprofen.
I take
you have
nothing.
packs of
Ibuprofen, emergency.
You have
That's what I live on.
Tylenol, or there's someone that maybe someone close to you nearby. You're sitting in a restaurant. Someone's complaining of chest pains. You need aspirin. You need to have packs of aspirin in your bag.
You got gummy bears.
You're
for,
out.
for your sugar.
You're out. You just had a giant steak dinner, but now you're walking around the stores in the mall, and you ate something really spicy. So now you have heartburn. So you have antacids.
You're gonna have some
in the
Beano.
pack.
You're gonna carry some Beano in case you're gonna.
I
Have
don't know what
I
this
don't know.
walking in the mall
You
thing
know.
is.
That doesn't exist
I saw a music
anymore.
video today, and they were in a mall. I'm like, you know what? I bet she didn't have to shut this
time's
mall
gone
down
past.
for this video. I bet she just walked into a regular
In the
mall.
last 2 years, I've been
You
to
get-
a mall once, and it was with Dakota and Chris, when we were killing time before the movie theater, looking for the bar in the mall that doesn't exist anymore.
There's all kinds of practical things that you can stick in your bag that you'll need pretty often. Like thinking things that like that your mom had in her purse when you were growing up. That was like, I need this, Mom. Do you have it? And you're like, and they always had it in their purse. And now you've got a backpack.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
It also has a little power bank in it that you can charge your phone.
One last thing I want to talk about that's a last minute addition to the show notes.
$2,000.
$2,000 or $600. What are we gonna get?
Whoa.
You got it already?
We forgot something.
What?
Dakota, in your bag, do you carry Twisted Tea?
Until the ATF starts regulating it.
High capacity Twisted Tea.
Co-host Kate
That's right.
Koger shared a video where they mixed it with the Dave Matthews Band song, and it doesn't get old. It repeats the strike about 15 times, and it never gets old.
I need to watch that. I didn't see that.
There's that.
It sounds hilarious.
That guy should be getting a check with commas in it.
How amazing is it that dude was able to pop a 16-ounce can on another man's nose, and it didn't even faze the guy. He just stumbled backwards a couple of inches.
I think that's the problem. Is I think the can took the impact. I think he must have hit him like right in the side, so it crushed sideways. As opposed to if he'd have gone in it like lengthwise,
I was
I bet
thinking
that
like-
would have hurt.
I was
Would have
thinking
knocked
like
his
this.
ass out.
Yeah, I think that's the way
Yeah.
it looked like it hit and it just kind of crumpled. But it looked impressive. And I'm still waiting for somebody to have really slowed it down with the sound, because I bet that's a satisfying video to see.
That would be.
Christy Avery's in the chat. She says $600 is pending in her account. I've been checking my First Financial Bank account all day. I've got nothing.
So have I.
I've got nothing.
Yeah, I haven't gotten anything either.
I'll check mine again, but I don't think
I'm assuming it's going to come in the morning. Like if it's not there by 8 o'clock, I'm not even worried about it. I don't think it's coming that day.
I wasn't counting on the last thing I
That's a
heard
meme.
before
That's not my actual thing.
before it
I
got
didn't think Dakota. I didn't think Dakota was at Wells Fargo. I was very confused. Oh, okay, yeah. There's $600, and then there's
is
Red
that a
Tube,
repeat of that one?
Pornhub,
Yeah.
Pornhub
He
$600.
said they made it $600 this time.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
That makes sense.
Running the classics.
It'll probably be
Playing the
$600, but the $2,000 is, if nothing else, it's been hilarious to watch that. That the minute that got thrown out, and it got thrown out, and you're like, well, the whole hang up with this is within one party, so it'll be political, but whatever. But once that number got thrown out, it was dumb.
So, Trump took the Democrats' position. He sat through the entire process, having his Treasury Secretary negotiate for 3 months.
He didn't
with
sit
Pelosi.
through the process.
He
had
essentially
a
he
liaison.
didn't speak. He sat to the side and didn't talk.
Yeah.
He had his agent in the negotiation was the Treasury Secretary, who cut a deal with Nancy Pelosi. They got it through the House, and then it got through the Senate, $600. Then Trump gets it to his desk and says, "This is bullshit. I'm not signing it. It's not enough money for the American people."
And it was because it got, and I even got a little confused in it, but I was aware from my work, involvement with the federal government, and they were on the verge of shutdowns like the last couple of weeks. We get an email on Friday, says you're coming to work. The feds are going to be shut down if they don't get something figured out. And so the budget's been getting kicked down the sidewalk for a couple of months. And so evidently that got rolled in. They finally passed an appropriation bill. And that's where all the stuff people are mad about is all the foreign aid. Sudan getting $700 billion, whatever they're getting, or $700 million. That had nothing to do with it. There was a separate bill, but everybody's mad about it. And it's fun. It's fun. It's good that everybody's mad about it because they've been doing that for as long as we know. Mm-hmm. Those we've been sending huge amounts of money overseas.
The Christmas vacation gifts have been, or JPEGs or memes have been off the charts.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
A donation's been made in your name to the Sudan for $350 million.
Yeah. Or you thought you were going to get your Jelly of the Month Club, or it turned out your Christmas bonus was just $600. But yeah, once that $2,000 got thrown out there, and you see that all these foreign countries are getting huge sums of money, everybody's like, I want the 2 G's. And you can't what's an explanation for why people don't? I actually have heard that some people will really knock them out of whack to get that much money in one time, because it would be a significant, like for me, it would be a several months worth of pay for my whole family to get at once. But
because if it's $2,000 a kid plus you and your wife, that's potentially $8,000 dropping in.
And if you're like a lot of people, then in a month and a half or 2 months, I'm getting my tax check. I'm getting my tax refund, which I set up to get a tax refund. And so they'd be, I think there was a guy that was in one of the wall group that was posting. He's like, there are people that will get, in theory, like $16,000 over the course of like a couple of months. And it could be potentially almost a life-changing amount of cash for folks, for a lot of people,
to get ahead and get right and do the right things, if that did happen.
Yeah. It's a huge chunk of money. As opposed to the $600 is like, it's enough to help. And a lot of people need the help. Some of them don't. And they got things, but if you all of a sudden, that flips into, like for my family, from $2,400 to $8,000. That's $8,000 is a lot. That is that's a totally different bracket in terms of what I'm going to do with it. Like if somebody says you're going to get this much, you get this much. Okay. I have this, you bump up to $8,000. I don't think anybody's going to stop and be like, okay, I need to actually think about what I'm doing with this, as opposed to $600 isn't changing anybody's life. Whatever you do with it, you're probably going to be in the same situation you were in a couple months anyway.
Yep, exactly.
I guess it's all a matter of how you work your plan or what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, generally the next $1,000 that comes in, where it's going, the next $5,000 that comes in, I know what to do with it. So whether it's 1,000 or 4,000 for my household,
it's the same.
We've got a plan. It's just, it's just a matter of what's going to happen. So I know I need a generator for the, 2 reasons. One, I need one for the camping I do and the Indy 500 and some other things where I need to be self-sufficient and have a generator.
Yeah.
But 2, in these troubling times of pandemic and ice storms, I can't flush my toilets without electricity now. So I actually legitimately need some sort of backup electricity now that I have a government required grinder pump in my yard. So, I guess that's what we're going to have to do. Dakota, what are you going to do with $6,000 or whatever the heck that's going to be for your house if this comes through?
I'd get $4,000. I would get the $2,000 for Jackson with my tax refund, since he wasn't filed on last year's taxes.
Well, you'll get it. I mean, it's just a matter of
later.
It might be 6 weeks from now instead.
I'm going to build a garage with him.
You're going to build a garage. You're going to get it locally sourced timber?
Mm-mm. That'll probably come from somewhere in New Zealand.
It's going to be Menards.
Yeah. No, Home Depot. They keep all their 2x4s indoors.
In the side.
I guess if it's building a garage, it doesn't matter. Probably from Gilman's.
Sure.
Yeah. Shorter drive. You don't have to go to Anderson.
Guffey, somebody drops $4,000 on your house. What are you doing? Is it going to be different than your $1,200?
Yeah, it'll. So if they drop $4,000, it's going to go into the savings account. And after Paige and I get married, we'll take a honeymoon somewhere. Because as it currently sits, we're going to postpone our honeymoon for a little while until we.
I, as the taxpayer, have to pay for your honeymoon.
I, as a taxpayer, am just trying to get a little bit of my tax money back.
I figure if we go on a vacation, it's
I think
Jackson
this is bullshit. I'm against the $2,000. I don't want to pay for your trip to Cancun.
That ain't my fault, bro. I don't want to pay for your generator.
I earned it.
It'll be like the Jacksons and Owen.
Yeah, Jackson and Jackson.
Yeah, paying
and
for
Owen.
it until through their retirement, probably.
At this point, does it really matter?
Rex Bell even said this week, he's
It's
like,
never going away.
let's just go as much as we can and see if we can break the government. Let's just see if we can push the other way and just break it. Maybe that's how we get out of this mess.
What was the stat that I saw a Spangle post that 23% of the money currently in circulation has been created in the last year or two?
It's insane.
It's insane. Yeah.
Speaking of that, you know what you all should invest in? Cryptocurrency.
I have
Norwegian Cruise
Litecoin,
Line stock.
I have Litecoin. I have Dogecoin. I have Bitcoin.
Do you guys not remember the
I have
way the
Doge,
world broke
Bitcoin.
in 2000 from the tech stocks?
I have a friend
I feel like that's what you're coming up on again.
I have a friend that said if you bought into
holding.
Bitcoin right when it started, if you bought $1,000 in, you'd be a billionaire.
Oh, you absolutely would. So when Bitcoin originally came out, it was 3 Bitcoin for every penny.
Yep.
And then so for $1, you got 300 Bitcoin. And then now it's about ready to crush $29,000
Per Bitcoin.
per Bitcoin.
So whenever
So that 1 penny back when it first started is now approximately worth almost $90,000.
When I was an apprentice in Muncie, there was a guy who was very stock market savvy and was reading things, and it was 2015, so 5 years ago. And Bitcoin started to get a little bit of name recognition to it, and in the financial world. And he's telling me one day, he's like, "Hey man, you heard anything about Bitcoin?" And I was like, "Why? What is it?" He's like, "It's this. It's called a cryptocurrency, and basically you can use it to purchase things totally anonymously." And I was like, "Oh, that seems weird." He's like, "But it's kind of like a stock because it's going to appreciate and grow. So the more Bitcoins you own now, they will be worth more money in a few years' time." And I was like, "Whatever, man. I'm a second-year apprentice. I make $13 an hour. I'm not buying any Bitcoins." Well, he did back then. And let's see, this was in 2015. Let's go to my 5-year chart.
It's like $400.
He roughly bought in at $400. He could buy 1 Bitcoin for $400. I don't know how much he spent, but yeah, he would have gained $28,000 if he had just bought 1 at this point.
The question will be, is it stable in growth, or eventually can it collapse?
Of course it can collapse. They can all move.
There's only a certain number of Bitcoin out.
But they're constantly printing them, right? As you data mine, as you mine,
There's only a
Bitcoin,
certain amount
you're still
in the
creating
blockchain.
more.
Right. There will never be more actually created. They have to
there's
be,
only a certain amount in the
they
blockchain.
have to be found.
Isn't that kind of
in
the
the
way it was supposed to be with
blockchain.
money?
Correct.
So
We're supposed to be running
what
off
keeps
of
them-
the resource of gold.
What keeps them from changing the rules?
Even gold is not fine.
Because the blockchain is basically crowdsourcing. So you have basically the entire network of millions of people that are invested in Bitcoin are going to make sure that no one messes with the system and creates more from scratch.
That's what you think today. If you
That's
buy,
what the theory is.
if you
going through
buy
what
gold,
it's supposed to be.
if you buy gold, what the gold standard, right? That's what everybody wants to be on. If you go buy gold, you don't get your physical gold. You get a ledger that says you have gold.
You get a treasury note that says this is how much gold.
And they literally make an adjustment on the computer and they create more gold because you're having your gold stored, and they get paid for storing your gold by creating more gold. There's more gold traded than actually exists in the world,
Yes.
right? It's a fiat currency as well. It's all widgets. It's all whatever the hell value you decide you're going to put on something is what it is. And whether you decide you're going to own currency, you're going to earn dollars, you're going to own stocks, you're going to own mutual funds, a treasury bond. It's all what somebody will sell it for.
Yeah.
Yep.
If somebody's willing to trade it. So I look at it and I say, okay, great. I've had so many people in the last 6 months hold up their phone and say, look, I have $4,400 in Bitcoin. Yay. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I guess.
You can sell it off though.
This is what I have in my 401k. It's the same thing. Like it's the same damn. It's whatever. If you're looking at it as a long-term investment and you're trying to grow year over year over year, you're going to be just fine. If you look at it and you say, I'm going to get rich quick because I bought $4,000 of this stuff.
The interesting thing to see is that the government's eventually going to find a way to get in on that.
Correct.
And I bet the
private
goal would be
companies
to
are already doing it.
Yeah, but I mean to find a way to like tax it, monitor what people's accounts are and stuff. Like they're going to find a way to get in on that, and then it sounds awesome right now, but eventually, if the government doesn't like, no government likes everybody to have anything that's that awesome that they're not making money on.
So
people.
Since May, my initial purchase of Bitcoin has gone up 166%.
Sure.
That's
awesome.
What mine says.
So how many Bitcoins do you own?
I own 0.004 Bitcoin.
Yeah. Okay. All right. In the meantime, I bought like 3 shares of an oil company in Canada for 37 cents a share.
I've got some energy stock that I've had so long that it still comes as to my dad as a custodian for me. I mean, at this point, it's doubled over how many years it's been around that I had to have been an adult.
My Robinhood account, only 36% of my portfolio is invested in cryptocurrency.
In your Robinhood account?
It's now.
About a month ago,
this isn't like my 401k or nothing.
This is just something. About a month ago, I bought
not serious
Baytex energy stock, and it's at 70 cents now. I think I bought it for 34 cents a share. So, whatever.
I bought a different energy stock. I think I bought Suncor.
Stock Talk with the Boss Hog of Liberty.
It's all arbitrary. I think it's comical. You do whatever you want. I don't care. I think it's a hobby, just like FanDuel is, right? I've made $1,000 on FanDuel this year.
And I have literally made nothing on my Suncor oil stock. It has gone. I've gained 28 cents.
Everybody says the prices are about to jump. I don't think that's going to be the case, but
it has an 83% buy rating from the experts.
So Jared, you sent that photo yesterday of your FanDuel.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I wonder what mine is. And I look at my FanDuel, and I realize I don't bet that much on FanDuel. And I'm like, all right. So I go over and I look at my DraftKings. The bet amount is significantly higher than what my FanDuel was.
Okay.
Almost like quadruple.
Okay.
I just realized I think DraftKings is better than FanDuel.
Because you've had more success?
I believe so.
Yeah, well, there's no comment there on the winnings, though. Just how much you betted.
Yeah. How much you bet?
I think, I think between the two, I'm like 1,000 or something like that. I can tell you.
Ready for final thoughts, boys?
Sure.
I had plans at 8:30.
Oh, yeah, you had to be somewhere, don't you?
Well, I mean, you scheduled plans on podcast night. That's not my fault. I feel like we should go another hour or two, honestly.
Yeah, I'm about $1,000. But I think I bet almost 10,000 for the year.
Producer Chris, what you got for us? Final thoughts.
Are you serious?
How much money?
$10,000.
I'm at almost like 10,000.
He should be a race car owner.
Gambler.
Or a restaurant owner, because that's what they say. Like, the best way to make $1 million as a race car owner, spend 10.
Where's your?
That's literally that's the margins he's working.
Yours is Jeremiah's is like 1-0 less than yours.
What do you mean?
I've bet 2,500 maybe. Is that what it says?
No. You've bet 1,400.
I bet 1,400.
You're about a 1-to-1,
and your winnings are at 2,400.
Yeah, I bet almost.
So I'm 1,000 to the good.
So yeah.
Almost 8,000 on DraftKings, and then almost 3,000 on FanDuel.
That's a money laundering operation, Guffey. That's what you've done.
So
that is insane, Chris. $10,000.
I know. I was just like,
that is a life changing amount of money.
Well, we know where his check's going to go.
I told my boss this today on my final thoughts. I told my boss today. I said, you know what? If I could consistently make $500 a week on gambling, I would tell you I quit. He goes, would you really? I was like, yeah, I'm out of here. If I can continuously make $500 a week, I'm done. I am done.
That's $24,000 a year.
That sounds risky.
It doesn't add up that well.
I don't care. I'm done. I am done.
You're going to go pro gambler
for 24,000
grand with no insurance, no 401k, no vacation time.
I'm about to get married. What are you talking about? No vacation time.
It's all vacation time.
It's all vacation
You're
time.
constantly working. It's a job then.
He's going to be the Dan
it's fun.
Bilzerian of you just need a trust fund dad.
So I'm just saying. But
All right. Well,
all
thanks
I
for joining us. When can we put you down for joining us again? Will we see you next week? Does Zach have to ask for Thursday night off now? So at
should
home,
probably do that.
I just made a standing reservation.
Yeah. You should have a standing reservation. I should be here next week. I don't foresee that I have anything in the future, but I don't know.
All right.
This is a commitment.
Co-host Zach. Yeah, you're committed to us just like Mason did yesterday at lunch. We had lunch with Mason. Yeah, I'll be there for sure. There's a chair for me. Yeah, I said there'll be a chair for you.
Chair's
There's an
right
empty
there.
chair. Mason's not here. And what did he decide to do, Guffey?
Go hunting in Brown County.
But that's tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow morning. Mason, the guy that will drive to Chicago and back in a day just for fun.
He visited us at Starve Hollow and then drove home.
Right.
The same night and left after dark.
He can't hang out here for 2 extra hours.
Yeah.
We're not bitter. It's just that he hasn't been on the show in 5 months. All right, Zachary.
I think I was trying to give last week. I was going to give a shout out to a couple people, like local groups in town. And I just forgot her last name. But Brenda works for the city, kind of the liaison with the North Pole, like the kids.
Grider?
Yeah, Brenda Grider. The little packets that the kids got from the North Pole were kind of awesome. And I know that there's a lot of hard work that got done to get those done. The food service people are still handing out lunches and breakfast for kids. They're working on their break to do that, and those are quite handy. My kids love them. So thanks to those people and anybody that helped, put up Christmas lights and made downtown look nice. For Christmas, it was nice, but yeah, a lot of people were hustling to make the holidays cool. Like my kids got glasses in their little packets that are like legit like magic. Because when you watch Christmas lights, it makes either snowflakes or a Santa head show up over any Christmas lights you see in them. They're like 3D glasses, but they got a bunch of cool stuff. Personalized letter from Santa. So thanks to all the people that put all that effort out.
Dakota, what you got, man?
My final thoughts are always be prepared. You never know what can happen. And also, I had a great Christmas, and it was a good time. Good first Christmas with a child.
They get better as they get more and more into it.
I can see that.
Get more on.
When they know what's happening.
Yeah.
I do appreciate Zach joining us again. He's incredible on the Newcastle knowledge. Yesterday there was a Maserati on the road in front of the Casey's General Store.
I can tell you where they work.
I sent it to Zach, and he knew the car and where it sits.
It had actually come
the
up.
full story.
That was bizarre. It had come up 20 minutes before in a different group text where a friend was in Carmel, a place you'd expect to see a Maserati. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's one of those in Newcastle. I'm like, it was a white one. And then in a chat with the guy who brought it up, but in a different chat, Jeremiah's like, look at this Maserati. I'm like, that's the one I was just telling Jeremy about. I'm like, I can tell you where that person works because I've seen it parked there before. So yeah. Between running and I saw that one doing an errand one day. I usually, if it's a notable car, I see it once. I know where they live, and if I see them driving it, I know who drives it.
You've seen them all. Special thanks from me to the Henry County Hospital. Our family has visited them a number of times in the last month or so. Helped us out, taking good care of some family members, and it's been very appreciated. So under extreme conditions for them, you pretty much right now, if you have somebody going to the hospital, you pretty much drop them off at the door of the ER, pin a 20 to their shirt, and say good luck, and then you just hope because you can't go in, you can't check on them. It's a very strange and difficult time, but they're trying their best. They're trying to take good care of folks for us, and we're figuring it out as we go along. So heartfelt thanks to everybody at our local hospital here in Henry County, but anybody that's doing that across the country, it doesn't go unnoticed. We appreciate it. We'll see you all next Thursday night.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at wearelibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. news, and we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to wearelibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We're Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at wearelibertarians.com.